Welcome to Literary Journeys with River. Today we dive into the Battle of the Labyrinth, the fourth book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. Remember, this is just a complete narrative summary, not the full book. If you love mythology, heroes, and impossible choices, subscribe and hit the notification bell to join every new adventure. Tell us where you're watching from. Your comments help YouTube recommend this channel and help us grow. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Percy attends orientation at Good High School, where his stepfather, Paul Blofeld, is a teacher. Upon arrival, he spots Rachel Elizabeth Dare, a mortal who can see through the mist. Trying to avoid her, he encounters two suspicious cheerleaders, Tammy and Kelly, who turn out to be Impausi, creatures serving Hecate. When they attack, Rachel helps him and Percy fights them with Riptide, defeating one. However, Kelly sets a fire before escaping, leaving Percy blamed for the disaster. Rachel gives him her number so he can explain later and flees before he gets arrested. Annabeth arrives at that moment and, seeing Rachel, is visibly annoyed. Percy explains what happened, and Annabeth warns him that they must go to Camp Half-Blood immediately, as the threat against demigods is more serious than they had imagined. Chapter 2. On their way to camp, Annabeth is upset, and Percy tries to talk to her without success. She mentions hearing rumors of monster attacks in San Francisco and that there's no news of Luke. Upon arriving, Tyson greets Percy enthusiastically, but Percy notices tension in the camp. Annabeth says she needs to discuss something important with Clarice. While walking through the camp, Percy meets Grover, who is desperate because the Council of Cloven Elders has given him 1 week to find proof of Pan's existence or lose his seeker's license. That night, Percy receives a mysterious iris message showing Nico d. Angelo at the river Styx, throwing his mythomagic cards into the fire. A ghost persuades Nico that the only way to bring back his sister, Bianca, is by exchanging a soul that has cheated death. Percy fears that Nico might come after him for this sacrifice. Chapter 3. During breakfast, campers discuss a roaming Ethiopian dragon near the camp. Quintus, the new combat instructor, organizes a war game in the forest, pairing Percy with Annabeth and Grover with Tyson, which makes both uneasy. During the competition, Percy and Annabeth are attacked by giant scorpions and, while fleeing, fall into an underground passage that Annabeth recognizes as an entrance to Daedalus Labyrinth. Alarmed, they return to the others, and Annabeth explains to Chiron that Luke could use the labyrinth to invade camp. Percy is shocked to realize that the passage had been hidden beneath them the whole time. Clarice confirms this explains Luke's plans, reinforcing the fear that Kronos' army is preparing for an imminent attack. The urgency to find answers grows stronger. Chapter 4. Percy dreams of Daedalus and his son Icarus being imprisoned by King Minos, who demands the inventor create more marvels for him. Upon waking, Chiron calls a camp meeting, where Annabeth reveals that Luke plans to invade Camp Half-Blood through the labyrinth. If he finds Daedalus' workshop, he could navigate the tunnels and launch a surprise attack. Annabeth insists on leading a quest to stop him and visits the Oracle, who gives her a troubling prophecy. While Percy waits for her return, he notices Quintus lurking near the labyrinth entrance and sees Clarice caring for Chris Rodriguez, a demigod traumatized by his time in the maze. Annabeth returns with the prophecy, which hints at death and betrayal, but Percy, Tyson, and Grover decide to accompany her. Despite Chiron's warnings about breaking ancient laws, the quest is set to begin the next morning. Chapter 5. Percy dreams of Luke and Kronos planning their attack. Luke seems uneasy because his master intends to lead the invasion in person and mentions that they only need to finalize a deal to complete their plans. Upon waking, Percy uses his cabin's magic fountain to spy on Nico, who is in a graveyard performing a ritual with fast food to summon spirits. Theseus responds to his questions about the labyrinth, but before he can reveal more, a dark presence interrupts the vision. Alarmed, Percy wakes up and prepares for the quest. Before leaving, he talks to Chiron about Kronos' plans and Daedalus' possible involvement. Chiron also suspects Quintus but prefers to keep a close watch on him. Finally, Percy joins Annabeth, Tyson, and Grover, and together, They descend into the darkness of the labyrinth. Chapter 6. The labyrinth's tunnels constantly shift, disorienting the group. Annabeth tries to guide them, but the passages change unpredictably. They find the skeleton of an old milkman trapped inside and sense the presence of nearby monsters. In a chamber decorated with Roman mosaics, they encounter Janus, the god of doors and choices, who forces Annabeth to make a decision. Just as she is about to choose, Hera intervenes and banishes Janus. The goddess offers them food and advice. They must seek out Hephaestus, as he might know Daedalus' whereabouts. She also hints that Percy already possesses the key to navigating the labyrinth. Before departing, she warns Annabeth that she will soon have to make a difficult choice. As they resume their journey, the group hurriedly chooses a tunnel upon hearing something massive approaching from the right. Chapter 7. The tunnel leads them to a dead end, and they are pursued by an unknown creature. To escape, they enter what turns out to be Alcatraz prison, where Tyson recognizes the voice of an ancient titan, Briars, a 100-handed hecatoncheir. They discover that Camp, a monstrous jailer, has captured Briars and is forcing him to submit to the titans. Tyson admires him, but Briars is terrified and refuses to fight. When Camp returns, the group flees to the prison yard, where Tyson confronts her to buy time. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover manage to open the labyrinth's entrance and drag Briars with them. Just when it seems Tyson won't escape, Percy distracts Camp, and all 5 of them slip back into the labyrinth before she can capture them. Chapter 8. Percy, Annabeth, Tyson, and Grover arrive at a cavern with a pit leading to Tartarus. Briars, still demoralized, refuses to help in the war against Kronos and vanishes into the darkness, leaving Tyson heartbroken. The group takes shelter in an ancient labyrinth passage to rest. Annabeth and Percy discuss the prophecy and their fears, while Percy dreams of Daedalus and Icarus, witnessing Icarus' tragic fall into the sea. The next day, they find traces of Nico, who has been summoning spirits. Following his trail, they emerge at a ranch, where they are intercepted by Eurytion, a demigod son of Ares. He takes them to his boss, Geryon, a 3-bodied monster who warns them that few survive the labyrinth. At the ranch, they see mythical animals, including Apollo's sacred cattle and man-eating horses, and finally find Nico, who still resents Percy. Chapter 9. Geryon betrays the group and plans to sell them to Luke. Percy offers a deal. If he can clean the filth-ridden stables before sunset, they must be set free. Seeking a solution, Percy meets a naiad who reveals that the ranch land was once submerged in the ocean. Inspired, Percy uses his water powers to summon saltwater geysers, washing away all the filth. Having upheld his end of the bargain, he demands their release, but Geryon refuses and orders Eurytion to kill him. However, the rancher rebels. Percy then fights Geryon, recalling that he has 3 hearts. He shoots an arrow through all 3 simultaneously, defeating him. They free the animals and Nico, who remains determined to bring Bianca back. Before leaving, Eurytion gives them a mechanical artifact from Hephaestus that will guide them to his forge. Chapter 10. At dawn, Nico summons Bianca's spirit, but Minos attempts to sabotage the ritual. Bianca warns Nico to let go of his anger, as it could destroy him. Moved, Nico hesitates before leaving on his own. Percy has a dream of Luke preparing to attack Camp Half-Blood and Daedalus murdering his nephew, Perdix. When he wakes, he realizes they have been in the labyrinth for an entire week. They continue onward, following Hephaestus' device to a chamber filled with skeletons, where a sphinx blocks their path. Instead of a classic riddle, it presents a general knowledge test, which enrages Annabeth. When she refuses to participate, the sphinx attacks, but Tyson knocks it down while Grover entangles it with magical roots. They escape through a tunnel, leaving the monster screaming in frustration behind them. Chapter 11. Percy, Annabeth, Tyson, and Grover follow the mechanical spider to a hidden workshop in the labyrinth, where they meet Hephaestus. The blacksmith god, deformed and covered in soot, is skeptical of them but agrees to help if they investigate who is using his forge on Mount St. Helens. On the way, Grover senses a passage that could lead him to Pan and, determined not to miss the opportunity, leaves with Tyson. Percy and Annabeth continue to the forge, where they discover telekines, sea demons forging weapons for Kronos. Annabeth sneaks in while Percy tries to spy, but he is discovered and chased. During the fight, the telekines throw lava at him, and in desperation, he taps into a hidden oceanic power within himself. The unleashed energy triggers a massive volcanic eruption, blasting him out of the mountain in a fiery explosion and leaving him unconscious. Chapter 12. Percy awakens on a paradise island, tended to by Calypso, a mysterious young woman with timeless beauty. Though the island offers peace and healing, he is distressed about his friends. Calypso reveals that she is trapped on Ogygia as punishment for supporting her father, Atlas, in the first war against the gods. Hephaestus visits and informs Percy that everyone believes he is dead, but provides a crucial clue. Only someone with clear sight can navigate the labyrinth. Percy understands the answer but faces a difficult choice when Calypso offers him the chance to stay and live with her forever. Though tempted by the tranquility, he chooses to return to his friends. Saying a sorrowful goodbye, Calypso helps him set sail on a magic raft that will take him to where he desires most. As he drifts toward the sunrise, he promises to always remember her and later plants a garden in her honor. Chapter 13. Percy washes ashore at Camp Half-Blood after being missing for 2 weeks. Shocked, he discovers that Chiron has organized a funeral ceremony for him. Annabeth, in tears, sees him and rushes to hug him before scolding him for disappearing. In the big house, Percy recounts his ordeal at Mount St. Helens and his time on Calypso's island, omitting certain details. He admits that Hephaestus gave him the key to navigating the labyrinth, but Annabeth gets upset when he suggests asking a mortal with clear sight for help. Clarice warns him about Daedalus' betrayal and the madness of the labyrinth. That night, Percy dreams of Minos hunting Daedalus in the past and Luke finding a lost demigod in the labyrinth. The next day, he travels with Annabeth to Manhattan and convinces Rachel Dare, a mortal who can see through the mist, to guide them on their journey. Chapter 14. Rachel leads them to a hidden labyrinth entrance at the Marriott Hotel, and they descend into the tunnels. They come across a chained Cyclops skeleton, putting them on high alert. Rachel senses the correct path, and although Annabeth hesitates, they follow her. Soon, they are captured by Dracini and the Impausa Kelly, who take them to a combat arena where Luke and the giant Antaeus await. Percy discovers that Antaeus is his half-brother, a son of Poseidon and Gaia, and that he has a stadium decorated with skulls in his father's honor. Forced to fight, Percy defeats a Dracena and a demigod named Ethan Nakamura but refuses to kill him. He then challenges Antaeus and realizes that his connection to the earth makes him invincible. Using chains from the ceiling, Percy lifts Antaeus off the ground and kills him by severing his contact with the earth. When Luke breaks his word and attempts to kill them, Percy uses Quintus' whistle to summon Mrs. O'Leary, his hellhound, and they escape into the labyrinth while being pursued by monsters. Chapter 15. Rachel guides the group through the labyrinth, avoiding traps and dangerous detours until they reach a modern workshop equipped with windows and advanced technology. They realize it is Daedalus' workshop and Quintus greets them, revealing that he is actually Daedalus in a mechanical body. He explains that he created automaton bodies to escape death but betrayed them by giving Luke Ariadne's string, the key to navigating the labyrinth. As they discuss, Nico arrives in chains alongside the ghost of Minos, who has betrayed everyone to capture Daedalus. In the ensuing battle, Nico uses his power to banish Minos to the underworld. Kelly nearly kills Percy, but Annabeth destroys her. As the room catches fire and an enemy army approaches, Rachel finds mechanical wings on the wall. Percy, Annabeth, Nico, and Rachel use them to escape through the window, while Daedalus decides to stay and fight alongside Mrs. O'Leary. Chapter 16. Percy and his friends escape Daedalus' workshop using bronze wings, but they begin to fall apart mid-flight. They manage to land in the Garden of the Gods, where they discover that the workshop has vanished. Annabeth suggests that the labyrinth may have been destroyed if Daedalus had died, but Nico insists he is still alive. Searching for a new entrance, Rachel uses her influence to get them a chauffeured car, surprising Percy. In Colorado Springs, Rachel identifies an abandoned mine as a gateway to the labyrinth, and they manage to open it. They venture through the tunnels until they reach a fork that smells of eucalyptus, an omen of Mount Othrys. Using Annabeth's cap, Percy infiltrates the fortress and finds Kronos' sarcophagus. When he opens it, he discovers Luke's lifeless body with a wound in his chest. Before he can react, telekines arrive with the Titan's scythe. Chapter 17. Percy watches as Ethan Nakamura swears loyalty to Kronos, allowing his essence to enter Luke's body, reviving him with golden eyes and a terrifying aura. When Percy tries to attack, his sword has no effect. Rachel distracts Kronos by throwing a hairbrush at him, giving Percy enough time to escape with Annabeth, Nico, and Rachel. After fleeing, Annabeth cries for Luke, refusing to believe he is truly lost. As they continue through the labyrinth, they find Grover's torn cap and follow his tracks. They soon discover Tyson with an unconscious Grover, who murmurs that they are close to Pan. Crossing an underground river, they enter a glowing cavern filled with extinct animals and lush vegetation. At its center lies an ancient satyr with blue eyes, Pan, the god of nature. With a kind voice, Pan reveals that he is dying and that his spirit must be carried on by his followers. He entrusts Grover with spreading his message before vanishing. Chapter 18. Rachel bids farewell, and Percy drops her off in New York before returning to camp with his friends on Pegasi. Grover tries to tell the truth about Pan's death, but the Council of Cloven Elders, led by Silenus, refuses to believe him and calls for his exile. Dionysus interrupts the meeting, confirming Grover's words and using his double vote to prevent the banishment. Meanwhile, the camp prepares for the impending battle. At nightfall, Kronos' army emerges from the labyrinth. Giants, telekines, Draceni, and hellhounds launch a furious attack. Percy fights fiercely, but the situation worsens when camp arrives. Just as all hope seems lost, Daedalus and Briars arrive with Mrs. O'Leary. Briars buries camp under a mountain of rocks, and the enemy forces flee in terror at the sound of Grover's powerful roar, an echo of Pan's ancient power. Chapter 19. After the battle, the camp mourns its losses, including Lee Fletcher and Castor. Daedalus accepts his fate and gives Annabeth his designs before asking Nico to release his spirit. Upon his death, the labyrinth collapses, sealing Kronos' invasion route. Grover calls for a council meeting and repeats Pan's message, but Silenus and other satyrs refuse to accept it and leave. The remaining members decide to preserve nature without waiting for divine intervention. Tyson leads Briars to the ocean depths to reunite with the Cyclopes. On the beach, Percy reflects on their losses and the looming threat ahead. That night, he sees Nico speaking to Bianca's ghost before she bids him farewell. Dionysus reminds Percy that even small acts can be as powerful as war and that, despite everything, their struggle has been worthwhile. Chapter 20. Summer at camp passes with an eerie calm, but Percy and Annabeth avoid discussing Luke. On the last day, Annabeth decides to stay to help Chiron and study Daedalus blueprints. As she says goodbye, she recites the final line of the prophecy, revealing that Percy will lose a love to something worse than death. Before he can process it, Hera appears, demanding gratitude, but Annabeth defies her, earning the goddess's wrath. Percy returns home and, on his birthday, receives an unexpected visit from Poseidon, who warns him of the impending war and the threat of Typhon. As a gift, he gives Percy a sand dollar, assuring him it will be useful when the time comes. That night, Percy plants a moonlace sapling from Calypso on his balcony, and Nico suddenly appears. He reveals that he has discovered a way to defeat Luke and proposes discussing it over birthday cake. We've reached the end of the Battle of the Labyrinth, a story where Percy learns that the real enemy isn't always a monster, but the choices that shape destiny. Thanks for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this summary, subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover these stories. Tell me in the comments, did the ending surprise you? What do you think awaits Percy in the next book? See you in the next summary.